Hello everyone, it's Velvy. Today I wanted to do something a little bit silly and a little bit fun and gender swap some of my favorite Danganronpa characters from V3. Also, if gender swap isn't the right term for this sort of thing, please let me know. So today we'll be swapping Kaito, Tenko, and Korekio. How do you pronounce it? Alright, let's get started. Whenever I tell people that Kaito is one of my favorite characters, I get a couple of confused looks. Like, he definitely isn't the worst character, but a lot of people aren't a super big fan of him. Maybe it's his facial hair. But I think he's great. He's a super caring and uplifting character, and he actually made the effort to befriend Shuichi and Maki. I always looked forward to running into him during the story, and I'm also a super big Kaito and Maki shipper, and Kaito and Shuichi. I've actually drawn a gender-swapped version of him a few times now, and seeing people enjoy his design is what inspired me to make this video in the first place. For his gender swap, I really wanted to exaggerate his coat to be longer and oversized. And you know what goes best with a huge coat? A short skirt. I also wanted to bring in more of the school uniform vibe by making the skirt pleated. Unfortunately, his goatee didn't make the cut, but she does have long flowing hair with her signature hair spikes. And with that, Kaito is done. Super cute. Next on the chopping block is Tenko. Tenko is my #1 fave girl from V3, but it wasn't always that way. Back when the game first released, as soon as I heard her overusing the term degenerate male, I immediately rolled my eyes. If I remember correctly, degenerate male was used online in 2016, how simp was used in 2020. I thought she was just a bad attempt at being hip with the kids, but as I rediscovered the series in 2024, I thought she was hilarious, based, and a vibe. I also really like her design, so much so that I've cosplayed her to anime cons multiple times. With her gender swap design, I took some inspiration from characters like Inosuke from Demon Slayer and Ryu from Street Fighter. Translating her hair accessories to be more masculine was challenging, so I ended up combining them into one headband that splits into multiple colors. She ended up looking quite Demon Slayer-y in the end. And of course, I couldn't leave out his long flowing hair. My only question now is, what would he say instead of degenerate male?
If she breathes, she's a thought!
Lastly, we have Korekio. Now, Korekio isn't my favorite, but you guys seem to like him a lot. He's way more popular than I thought he was, so I'll gender swap him just for you guys. Warning for V3 spoilers, as I'll be drawing him with his mask down. When I first saw Korekio, I thought he was going to be a red herring for a murderer. He looks like a murderer, sounds like a murderer, surely he's not a murderer. Turns out, he is in fact a murderer. He's killed so many people. I'll never forgive him for what he did to Tenko and Angie. His backstory is that he's been possessed by his deceased older sister, and when he pulls down his mask, she takes over control. It's quite tragic, and when you take into account the ending to V3, it's kinda messed up too. For the gender swap, I actually want to keep the older sister instead of turning her into an older brother. If she was possessed by an older brother, maybe she could have drawn a mustache on her face. But since I'm keeping the older sister, Korekio will still be wearing red lipstick underneath her mask. I also want to make her tall and lanky. I want to give her a traditional hakama skirt to lean more into the anthropology ultimate. I'll keep the masculine combat boots and hat to contrast against the more feminine style. Ta-da! Korekio is done. So, what do you think of these designs? I'm actually really happy with how these came out. I love the V3 characters so much. I'd love to do more of them if you guys are interested. I'd also like to gender swap some of the other characters from the other games too. The possibilities are endless. I feel like Gundam would be a great candidate for this. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!